guys. I thought I'd come and hang out with you guys for a little bit this evening. We're going to chat a bit about whether or not you could be sabotaging your relationships and not even knowing about it, not even being aware that it is something that you're doing. We're just going to look at some specific points. And then you can ask questions and we can have an interactive discussion. And for some of you, if you want a reading or you want a question answered, one question readings, I'll do that. I'll pop that in here as well. So you can just comment with your question, and the ones that I'm drawn to, I'll do some channeled readings to answer those questions for you guys. Okay, so let's take a look at whether or not you could be sabotaging your relationship at this time without even realizing, or whether it is something that you have the tendency to do. We're just going to be chatting about that, and I'll do some mini readings for you guys as well. So if you do have a question that you'd like to have answered, you can comment with your question. You just put reading, please, and then you ask your question, and whatever I'm drawn to, I'll do those readings for you. So one question readings, I'll channel that for you. If you're interested in those, if you feel like taking advantage of getting a free personal reading, you can ask your question and I'll answer them for you. Okay, so we find ourselves in different places in our relationships on our journey. But what seems to be the case and always has been is that your theme, the things that you seem to struggle with, the challenges that you seem to face, seem to be ever present for you, regardless of which relationship you're in. You can change the person, you can change their name, you can change location, but for some reason we have that same annoying issue or theme that we have faced in every relationship that we're trying to run away from. We have it coming up in every relationship, and that's because we create our own reality. And you can choose the person, you can choose the perfect person that seems to have all the right qualities, but you take your vibration with you. You take your energy, your vibe with you, and that's why we often repeat our experience in relationships. We have the same things coming up that we've tried to run away from. We've tried to find new people. We've tried to tick boxes that help us to feel safer with them and feel as though we have the opportunity to possibly have a different experience. So if that's the case, why is it that we keep recycling our experiences even in different relationships? Because your energy vibration is what matters more than the person. Your energy vibration is what matters more than the place. It matters more than who that person is and all the boxes that you've ticked pertaining to them. Your energy vibration is what creates your reality. And so it doesn't matter who you bring, you will attract people based on what your concept is around relationship. Your relationship with yourself sets the basis for your relationship with anybody else. No matter how many times we change the person, and no matter how many times we try and avoid the situation, if that's what's active in your relationship concept, in the relationship with yourself, that is what you are going to keep attracting in relation to another person. Okay, so it's possible. I'm going to go through a few points that could be relevant to you, and how holding that energy and having that experience, what it really says about your relationship with yourself and why you could be sabotaging your relationship because you're doing that particular thing. Okay, so let's look at the first point that I have. You focus more on what is going wrong in your situation, could be going wrong And that we do that to try and protect ourselves. We establish that we like someone, and there's the possibility that they might like us and want to be with us, and then we start to analyze what could be wrong, look for the red flags, analyze all the spaces and the places where we might have issues with this person. We actively look for what could be wrong with them so that we can hopefully establish sooner rather than later that this is not going to work for us, because we're afraid of finding ourselves in another situation where we've bought into a relationship, we've invested in a relationship, and we discover there's something that we can't deal with, that we don't want. So we do spend a lot of our time analyzing, assessing, and looking for the red flags. Is that something that you do? Do you find yourself focusing more on what could be red flags, what could go wrong, what is possibly not wanted in a connection, hoping that if you get out ahead of it and if you figure out what is wrong early enough, you can hopefully teach that person or change the situation, solve that problem before it becomes a problem for you. Now, this doesn't seem like a bad thing to do, but you see what's happening is when you enter a relationship scenario, when you attract someone into your space, it's normally because you've been spending more of your time thinking about relationship based on what you want, what you enjoy about relationships. When you're single, you find yourself thinking about relationships and what it is that you miss, what it is that you enjoyed about it, all the things that make it worthwhile. That is the vibration in which you attract someone into your experience most of the time. But now when you have that person in your space and in your energy, and there's a possibility that this could be something, now you start to negatively assess the relationship. Are we compatible? So you really, when you go on dates, when you spend time together, when you have conversations, you're analyzing every conversation, every situation, every scenario based on whether or not this means this is the person or not. Is this conversation or this experience, the way that he or she responded to my friends, the way that he or she handled the waitress, the way that he or she walked ahead of me and not beside me. We're doing this ticking in our head. Is this still what I want? Is this really what I want? Is this the right person for me? Is this person, are we compatible? So you see there's this negative assessment of the connection because you feel that you're protecting yourself when you do that. Because if you can figure out sooner rather than later that this is not the right connection for you, then you can let it go. What unfortunately happens is what you give focus to grows. You manifest a relationship when you're not doing that negative assessment of what you are likely to attract into your experience. You're doing it based on looking at other couples most of the time, and this might or might not be your reality, but this is where we are when we feel like we're ready to meet someone new, we're open to meeting someone new, we look at other couples and the value and the positives and the quality, and that's what we want. And it's normally in that, when we're holding that energy vibration active, that we attract or manifest a relationship. But then we go into survival mode, into protect me mode, into let me try and avoid what I've experienced in the past. And from that perspective, we reactivate all our old fears, our old relationship concepts, our old experiences, and what we then believe about ourselves based on that experience. And we begin to remanifest that in the relationship and the connection that we find ourselves in now. Does that guys, you are welcome to ask questions. I'm hoping that this can be interactive, so you can comment, you can ask questions, and as I said, this is a nice opportunity for me to give you guys some one-on-one personal readings. You can ask your questions. So I'm doing this talk based on relationship, but I'm also going to throw in some personal readings. So if you would like to get a question answered, I'm doing one question personal readings. You can just comment personal reading and ask your question, and whatever I'm drawn to, I will channel the message for you, the answer from spirit for you. Okay. So if you tend to focus more on what is wrong than what is right in your relationship, in your connection, then you are sabotaging yourself. Because whatever you give focus to, that is what you give energy to. That will grow and expand. The universe, that's how we ask. We think we ask with our words, but we really manifest with our energy vibration. So your expectation and whatever you give focus to is what you're going to get more of. So if you are negatively assessing your connection, hoping to protect yourself from any red flags, instead of being present with that person and really enjoying what they do offer and what they do bring, focusing on the positive things, the positive aspects, you're looking at what could be red flags, things that annoy you later in the relationship, hoping that you can put together a comprehensive list of the things that you want to tackle, that you want to push away, that you want to get rid of, when all you're doing is giving fuel to the fire and attracting more negative things. That is surely a way that you sabotage a relationship. When you focus more on what could be going wrong as opposed to what is going right. And let's make no mistake, if something if something is so toxic and unwanted in a connection, you will have no question, you will not have to look for it. You could be having the best couple of months of your life with this person, and then that skeleton that pops out of their closet shows its face to you. You won't be able to deny it. That will be a clear indication that now this is either something that you want to move forward with in the relationship or not. But if you're in a place where you are more calibrated to the things that life brings to you that holds value, and less to the problems and the issues, then you won't attract and manifest that further down the line. It's just not going to work that way, because you're just not a match to it. And if that person that you are focusing on positive aspects with or about does have annoying tendencies, it just won't show up in your experience. Or if it is a stubborn part of their character, then they will gently move out of your experience. You won't have to reject that person, because your energy will repel them, because you're a vibrational match to the things that you enjoy and appreciate, and not to the problems and the unwanted things. So you won't attract more problems. Anybody that is invested in bringing you hardship or problems will just gently move out of your experience. Okay. Hi, Tatiana. Nice to have you here. Thank you so much. As I said, I'm happy to do one-on-one readings. This is an opportunity for you to get a free personal reading as I go through this talk. If you have any questions about the talk that I'm doing, you can comment and ask me, and I will clarify. I'll answer your questions. But if you'd like to get a personal reading, perhaps you have a question that you'd like to have answered, you can comment as well. And I will channel the answer for you. Just one question. Okay, guys, so that's point one. If you're focusing more on what is unwanted, on the negative aspects of your connection, and you're there most of the time and not focusing on the positive aspects of the connection, then you're self-sabotaging. You're creating a vibration in which you're saying to the universe, I like having someone to have to fix. I like having somebody that becomes my focus, that I get to see as a project. And if that's not what you want, then you want to send out a different message to the universe, and you want to focus on the things that make you happy, right? I've got a personal reading question. Okay, let's see. Please, can you ask Spirit, I've done the necessary healing to continue on the connection that I'm in. Okay, I'll do that. Let's do that reading. Okay, let's do this channeled reading for BFFs. Thank you, Spirit. She wants to know, or he wants to know, I don't know if it's male or female, if this individual has done the relevant healing to move forward in the current connection. Okay, thank you, Spirit. Have they done the healing? Has BFFs done the healing that is required to move forward in this current connection? What is it that Spirit has to say about this? Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Let's take that. All right, so you're feeling a little bit guarded. Okay, that's what Spirit is saying. You're feeling a little bit guarded because you don't trust yourself, and because you're feeling a sense of inspiration, and there's a sense of passion when it comes to this connection, and you're feeling drawn to it. But at the same time, you don't feel like you can trust yourself. You're feeling a bit guarded because you've been working on your inner stability. You've been working on a secure and stable relationship with yourself, but you just worry that you will lose yourself once again when you're in the relationship. And what Spirit says is you don't have to worry about that, because take your focus just for a moment. Do me a favor. Take your focus away from the person and the possibility of a relationship. Of being with the person and the possibility of a relationship, and focus on your person just as they are as an individual. You will agree with me that you've noticed that this person seems to be very solid, grounded, and level-headed. This is not your person. This person seems very I feel like an earth sign energy, okay? And that's a very solid, grounded energy, not running off their feet to impress you. Just, I know who I am. I know what I want. That's the energy that you got. And you can confirm that for me, that is your person, and that's the energy that you get from them. Because Spirit is saying that if you can allow yourself to focus on what you've established in your healing, which is a sense of you've obtained and you've practiced techniques and methods to help you to find more security and stability within yourself. This person has come into your life to offer you support, a stable basis, not for you to lose yourself. Okay, it is a Taurus, an air sign, perfect. They haven't come along so that you can lose yourself in them once again. They've come to support you practicing what you've learned in the relationship with yourself. So if you make that your dominant focus, that before I make space for this person in my day or in my life or whatever that may be for you, let me just check in with myself. Let me just do that meditation. Let me do that process of just grounding myself, loving myself. Then you don't have to worry about getting lost. There might be moments where you're tested, and that's an opportunity for you to love yourself harder, for you to just reaffirm those techniques, for you to, it's like practicing for a race. And then when the race comes, you're nervous that you haven't practiced enough. But the only way to know is to run the race. And that's the message Spirit is giving you. Run the race. You can do this. Sometimes it's going to feel like maybe you've regressed, but you never are. It's just another opportunity for you to re-implement that newfound awareness with yourself and within the relationship with yourself. I feel like this is a good supportive connection for you. And if you set the intention that you are always going to be the priority and you're going to love yourself first before you give anything to this person, you don't have to worry about getting lost. That's your message. I hope that helps and that answers your question. Okay, so let me just see if there are any other chats that have come up here. All right, so any advice or messages for Morgan? Right, thank you, Spirit. I'm going to use my goddess deck for that. Let's get some messages from Spirit, from our guides for Morgan. Any general advice for Morgan? Anything that Spirit wants to share? Okay. Okay, Shanae, I'll do that for you next. Let's look at what's happening with Morgan. Thank you, Spirit. Any advice for Morgan? All right. Let's see. Thank you, Spirit. General advice for Morgan. Okay, what is it that Spirit would like you to know? Oh, Morgan, have you been a little bit restless, feeling stressed, depressed maybe, not sleeping well? I see that you're troubled about something that perhaps you don't even know what it is, but you're just feeling that you're not as restful and as calm and as... Oh, it's Lisa. Okay, well, yeah. So Spirit is showing me that there's a little bit of depression, maybe a bit of anxiety. You're not sleeping as well. You're feeling restless. Spirit wants you to know that you're looking for evidence in your life. What is it that I'm doing wrong? What is it that I need to remove so I can feel better? But what Spirit is saying, my dear, I need to share this message with you. What you're experiencing is part of an awakening. You're receiving downloads, and you'll find that when you do eventually fall asleep, your dreams are quite vivid. This is about your gifting. This is about why you came here. And this is, Spirit is saying, this process will be easier for you with what's happening. You're being affected by what's happening in our planetary systems, with our upgrades, with receiving downloads. And what'll make this whole process easier for you, Lisa, is if you remember to connect with your essence, your inner being. Open the heart chakra and ground. Open the heart chakra and ground. Open the heart chakra and ground. There are different techniques that you can use. Meditation, of course. But you can also light a candle, a green candle. And you know what an amazing, and Spirit is saying to me, to say to you, Lisa, the best way to open your heart chakra is to step out of yourself and to choose something that you are going to do for somebody else every day. So whether it is doing some charity work, whether it is helping out a neighbor who you know needs some help, whether it's playing with one of your neighbor's friends or a niece or a nephew that you know is not having the best relationship with their mom or their dad, Spirit says, you know, you have these people around you. And if you step out of your head a little bit and out of the question, am I okay? Am I enough? Am I doing the right thing? And just allow yourself to share your light and share your love in the simplest ways. This will really help you to ground and to balance, and it'll allow this upgrading that you're going through to be easier for you on the whole. So I hope that makes sense to you, but it is about your gifting. That's as much information I can give you here, but there's a lot of information online. And sometimes it helps us to have a spiritual teacher and guide. We are tuning into why we are here and what are the best ways that we can bring our gift to the world without draining ourselves and stressing ourselves out. Okay, right. So is it possible that you could be sabotaging your relationship? Let's look at point 2. So in point 1, we looked at the fact that if you are focusing more on what could be going wrong as opposed to what is going right, then you are sabotaging yourself. You are reactivating negative, unwanted relationship concepts instead of giving more fuel to what you want, which you've asked for, which is the positive things, the things that you like. Okay, so you have to be deliberate about where you focus. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next point. Are you avoiding anything that may lead to stronger commitment? Do you find yourself avoiding anything that may lead to stronger commitment? Sometimes this is not so easy to see. Okay. So sometimes we get into our ego in affection and we act as though we don't care. So we start deliberately doing things that give the impression that we're not really committed. And then we're wounded when our person seems to pull away. Maybe it's the person you're dealing with as well that seems to be avoiding anything that leads to stronger commitment, whether it's a conversation or a behavior. And if that's the case, then you know that your person is in a vibration, is in the energy of sabotaging something here. So the question is, what is it that I do? I accept that that is where they are, and then I use my awareness that everything that comes into my experience is a mirror, and ask myself, what are some of the ways that I might be self-sabotaging and avoiding commitment? Am I deliberately dating people that are unavailable, emotionally unavailable? Am I giving the impression that I want less than what I actually want? When we start having a serious, in-depth conversation, do I find myself going into defense mode, or do I create a safe space where I can listen and I can hear what it is that my person's wanting to say? If you can't identify any of those and all of them are no, 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 I'm not doing any of that, then there might be a level of denial, because we only attract into our experience what is active. And then you can say, it's okay, but I set an intention to observe and to pay attention to how I respond to certain situations in my connection, and to recognize, with the help of my guides, where I might be avoiding anything that is going to lead to a stronger level of commitment. Okay? So I'm going to look at what's happening with Shanae. I'm going to answer your question, Shanae. Thank you, Spirit. Shanae wants to know, a person seems to be in a better place, self-love. Now that immediately Spirit is saying to me, that is an indication, Shanae, that you have been working on your personal relationship. And so what you see in your person and the way that they're behaving is also somewhat different. So Shanae is asking, my person is showing signs of deeper self-love, just a better relationship with themselves. Let's see if I can get that question back. Please offer guidance on how I can let go of my ego around feelings of unworthiness. Okay, feelings of unworthiness. How you can let go of feelings of unworthiness. What is the best route or process for Shanae at this time? Thank you, Spirit. Shanae, stop going round and round in circles. Stop evaluating where you are. You know what you're doing? This is what Spirit shows me. You've got an inventory of everything that went wrong in the past, everything that you did and you didn't do in the past. Everything that you did, even the good things, now fall into that bowl, into that bucket. And now you're asking, well, how am I supposed to behave now moving forward? But that list of everything that happened in the past, what I did, what I didn't do, is so fresh and so dominant that your entire reality, you're judging yourself, you're judging every situation based on what happened in the past. You have to stop going round and round in circles. That is affecting your money. There is a pinching off, because you're saying, yes, I create my reality, and these bad things happened, and now I'm adamant about avoiding those bad things. So I'm living my now reality through the lens of avoidance. Set yourself free. What you want to say is, these things happened, and I'm so glad that they happened, because I learned so much, I've grown so much. All of these unwanted experiences have contributed to my newfound awareness, to my expansion, to the beautiful person that I am today. Today I'm closer to everything that I want than I've ever been before. I don't need to hold myself accountable for the past anymore. I don't need to hold myself to the standard of not being that. Instead, I want to create space for what I am. Create space for what you are. Forgive yourself for the past and forgive others. Understand that those people that have rubbed you up the wrong way, they contributed to you in a positive way. Allow yourself to see it like that, and then let it go. It's in the past. You are here now with all that you've learned, with all the gold and the jewels that you've accumulated. And now you can use that to fuel in a loving, positive, kind way your current reality. That is why you're pinching it off, because you keep going back. And then you look ahead. You're in the present for a very short period of time, and then you do this big loop in the past, and then you're in the present for a very short period of time, and then you look ahead. Start to practice being present by observing where you are now in this moment. In this moment now, I'm sitting, I'm having a talk with these beautiful people on YouTube. And everybody here, they have a common desire for well-being. They have a common desire to be the best version of themselves. I'm in the company of that. I am in the company of greatness, and I feel a deep sense of appreciation. Do this in every area, every segment of your day. You've got to start segment intending. That is the way that you are going to tune into your worthiness. When you open your eyes, that is a segment. What is the first thing that you do? Do you focus on oh gosh, it's another day. What are all the problems I need to fix today? Or do you be with your breath? Do you say, oh my God, I woke to another day and the sun is out and it's beautiful, or it's raining and it's the showers of blessing. I love the rain, and I love that I don't have to walk in the rain. I get into my vehicle and I drive to my destination and I get to enjoy the rain. I love that I'm in this warm, cozy bed, and that I'm only getting out of it because I choose to, because I love my job. You see? That's what I want you to do, Shanae, in every segment of your day. And that's going to help you to tune into the worthiness. Because isn't it, when you acknowledge that I can draw breath, my lungs draw breath, and this breath is the breath of life. It is if the God force or source is blowing this breath into my lungs because I deserve life. Then you tune into worthiness. If you use every segment of your day as an opportunity and an excuse to tune into your worthiness, you will have no self-worth issues. You will be a vibrational match to the truth about your value and your worth. Okay, so that is your answer, Shanae, and I hope that that helps and that you're able to implement that, because I promise you that is going to turn everything around for you. Okay. Let's look at point 3. Is it possible that you are sabotaging your relationships? If you constantly criticize your partner, then you are. And if you're in a situation where you are constantly being criticized by your partner, then you know that that person has a tendency to sabotage. So why would we not? Hello, Caroline. Nice to have you here. I am doing this talk based on our capacity to sabotage our relationships, but I'm also doing free readings. So if you have a question, a one-question reading, then I'm happy to channel that answer for you. Okay. I know that someone else, I think it was Tatiana, that asked a reading question. I'm going to scroll up in a bit and I'm going to check that out. I did see you over there. Okay, so if you find yourself criticizing your partner, or you're in a relationship or a connection where your person is constantly criticizing you, it is worth acknowledging that there is some commitment issues there. There is a natural tendency to sabotage the relationship. Now you have to ask yourself, do I want to be in a situation where someone is self-sabotaging because they are going to find different ways to sabotage this relationship, and because they're testing it, they want to see if it's real. And if they push a little bit here, and it could be you too, if I push a little bit here and I push a little bit there, then it confirms that if this person stays, that they love me. But here's the thing. If you're constantly criticizing your person and they still come back for more, that is a toxic, unhealthy situation. Now, you can either call yourself out and say, this person deserves more than this, and so I am going to deliberately start to make an inventory of their positive aspects. And if I can't find any, then why am I here? If I can't find any characteristics, qualities of value that I can truly appreciate in this person, then why am I here? Why am I doing this dance with this person who deserves more, who I clearly don't like, because I'm afraid of being alone or whatever the case may be? And if you're on the receiving end of someone constantly criticizing you, then you have to acknowledge that that is the position that they are in. They do not have a healthy relationship with love, with relationships, which means they do not have a healthy, solid relationship with themselves. And so they're constantly pushing you to seek that validation, because if you keep coming back and you keep staying around, then it validates, maybe I deserve to be loved. But it doesn't change their belief about themselves, and you have no control over that. So you need to ask yourself, am I loving myself by choosing a situation in which I am constantly being criticized? Is that the narrative that is active in my mind about me? Is that the story that I hold active about myself? Do I criticize myself in these ways? Why is it that I've attracted this type of situation into my experience? And how do I best honor myself moving forward? Then you need to choose to be a high-valued person. If you are not being valued, you need to value yourself, because you've got to set a standard so that others can meet it. You set the standard in relation to yourself, in your own personal relationship, and your partner is guaranteed to meet it. No doubt about it. Okay. All right. Let's just see. Personal question. How would I know that someone has indeed been sent on my path by the divine? I am willing to wait. Okay, Tatiana. You will know that someone has indeed been sent on your path by the divine because you are not separate from source. You are the divine being. You, the part of you that is self, that is soul, that is consciousness, that keeps this body functioning. Because this body is just a vessel, and this mind is just the program, the computer that is being controlled, pre-programmed, and then runs on that system by us. But the part of you that is soul and source is not independent from that which we call God or source or the universe. That divinity is your connection to source. You are a part of God in this body, which means that we have creative control. You are the creator of your reality. I am the creator of my reality. And when you and I come into the same vicinity the way that we are today, it's because we're co-creating. We're having this conversation because we want to let in the expansion based on this conversation. Everybody that comes into your experience is another version of you. Okay, you're experiencing me as another version of you in this moment, and vice versa. So that's the first thing to get clear on. I am not this petty, weak, vulnerable individual, human here on earth, dependent on this force in the sky that is going to maybe look upon me with favor and then send some good fortune my way. No. You are loved. You are so incredibly worthy, and you came into this life, into this time-space reality, being worthy, being loved, because you are a part of God. And this is why we have free will, because every time we sift and sort and we make a decision, we contribute to expansion. And whether it's a right decision in someone's eyes or the wrong decision in another person's eyes, it's always right. It's always right, because if we don't have the contrast, we don't have the expansion. If you don't have the question, the solution won't come. From the question, the solution is birthed. So that's the first thing I want you to be aware of, is that you are creating your reality with your free will. You have, throughout your relationships, you've declared your preference. I don't like this. I don't want that. I want more of this. This is what I prefer. So your inner being that is connected to source, to the divine, knows exactly what you want in a partner. Your inner being also knows exactly what is still active that might hold you apart from letting in that love, that joy that you really deserve. So sometimes the divine brings into our experience, you attract and manifest someone that helps you to grow a little bit more. And someone that brings you everything that you want. So how do you know that the person that you've attracted into your experience is indeed what you've created, what your inner being has created for you, and what you've manifested, and what is good for you? You know because you feel more connected to yourself by the thought of that person. You know because you feel a deeper capacity to appreciate and love yourself when you're with that person. You know because even when there's a little bit of contrast, you want to reach to be the best version of yourself in that situation instead of blame them. You know because you function in alignment in relation to them more than in your ego. That's how you know. Okay, and that's just some of the ways. And the fact that you are willing to wait means that when you do attract and manifest someone into your experience, you believe that, because it resonates, doesn't it? When you do attract someone into your experience, they are going to come and bring you all of the value that is you already, that you deserve. And that's when you are going to have to be deliberate about not reactivating past fears and past relationships, because if you do that, then you're going to manifest a little bit of that. But the good news is, if you're constantly wanting to line up with unconditional love, wanting to line up with your growth, with being spiritually conscious in every challenge, in every scenario in the relationship, then that's all you'll do when a little bit of contrast shows itself. So you're winning. All you do in a situation like that is win and grow and allow the relationship to become the more that you want it to be. Okay. Right. So I've got another reading, another question from Caroline. Okay, let's answer that question. All right. Thanks, Spirit. Has my relationship come to an end? Is this relationship over? Is this the end? Is this relationship over? Is this the end? Thank you. Is this relationship over? Is this the end? Has this relationship served its purpose? And has Caroline evolved beyond this connection? Let's see what Spirit says. Thank you. I'm getting the answer is yes. Whilst I was shuffling the cards, Spirit was showing me that this relationship has served a particular purpose because of where you were. But you've expanded in your journey, and now it's time for you to have some space. This doesn't mean that it's over indefinitely, but I'm just saying, you see, the Nine of Pentacles is the person that is single, they're on their own, and they're focusing on their own stability and their own financial abundance. And that's what Spirit's saying, that this relationship's been moved out of your experience for now. And if you want to welcome it back later, you can. But maybe at that point, it just won't be a match to what it is you're asking for. It's because what Spirit shows me is that it's had a place. It was a soft place. It gave a sense of security and stability whilst you needed it. But you've developed in the meantime. You've used the foundation of where you've been to grow and grow and grow. And now this part of your journey is about obtaining independence, being completely self-sufficient, secure within yourself, having the space to fall in love with yourself in the way that, and let's face it, relationships, they take a lot of it's work. And when we love, we tend to pour ourselves into the other person, and it takes a lot of practice, deliberate process work to help us to get to a place where we are so solid in our individuality, that we're solid in our own stability, our own inner security. I think that what this is about, it's about you developing your relationship with your wealth. That is what Spirit is showing me. It's about you developing your relationship with money, your relationship with wealth, and your abundance that you are going to be letting in the near future. I feel for some reason that your person has been an excuse for you to pinch yourself off from that abundance financially. And you've been speaking to Spirit about more financial growth and more financial abundance. And this is the answer to it. And part of that answer is that you have space from this person. So I do feel that this is the phase in this relationship leading to this point. That phase is over. Whatever you let in when you get to your next place. And what Spirit is showing me is that it's possibly going to be somebody completely different. And it doesn't mean, it's like I was saying early on, it doesn't mean that these relationships are a waste of time. No, these karmic connections, and I know there's a negative association with karmic connections, they're the most valuable connections we can have. Those are the people that have contracted to come and be, and to really rub us up the wrong way so that we can become shiny. But also those are the people who have come to help us to grow and to expand. So love and appreciate this person, and know that it's okay that our journey sometimes split, because there's something you need to obtain that you can only do by yourself, and there's something that I need to obtain that I can only do by myself. And that is the message to you, Caroline. So I hope that helps. Okay, so let's move on in the talk. Are you sabotaging? Is it possible that you could be sabotaging your relationships? Point 4, you have the tendency to hold grudges. Do you find yourself that when you do have a difference of opinion, a tiff or an argument, that old stuff come up? Or that when your person does something that you remember that they did something similar last month and the do you hold grudges? When you hold grudges, there is the dominant vibration there is resentment. I resent that happened. I resent how I felt, and I've been waiting for you to do something that makes me feel the opposite of that. And that person doesn't have the power to do that. When you hold grudges, it's like refusing to patch the hole in your wall. Everybody's cold in the house and everybody's miserable. And everybody knows we can patch the hole in the wall and then we'll be comfortable, but you feel like, no, you need to suffer the consequences of knocking that hole into the wall in the first place, and see how miserable we all are as a result of your behavior. So that maybe if you're punished enough, then you would never do that again. And the only thing that happens is everybody suffers, everybody's cold, everybody gets sick, and the contempt grows. Contempt is the number one killer in a relationship. Now, if something happens that you feel you cannot live with, that you cannot make peace with, then you have the right to say that and to give yourself space. But it's a hard one when something happens that you feel that you cannot live with. that you cannot live with, and at the same time you don't want to be alone. You want that person to make you feel better about yourself and everything. So now you're dishonoring yourself because you don't want to let it go. You feel you can't, but you also don't want to give yourself the freedom not to be in that situation. And so the anger that you then portray to the other person is a self-loathing of sorts. And that person can never be more when they are constantly living under the shadow of something that you are still holding against them. So you set yourself up for failure when you do that. You have choice, you always do. And in this one scenario, you have at least three. But choosing the first option, I can't get past this. I can't forgive it. I can't let it go. Because I can't trust that you won't do it again. But yet I choose to be here. That's the harder option. And that speaks to how you treat yourself. It's no longer about how that person treats you. So you are sabotaging the relationship, because even if your person's intention is to be more, there's just no platform for it. You're not a vibrational match to it. You're still a match to what they did wrong the last time. You're not a match to who they're wanting to be for you now. Okay. Caroline, you mentioned something about the eclipse that you feel it's got something to do with the energies. Absolutely. Do you know that we've got so much going on? We've got so many planets in retrograde, and we've got the eclipse coming up, but we also have Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto, I like Pluto's energy because Pluto is a very I'm not going to make a big fuss about this and explain anything, but this crap here is not serving you, and it needs to be burnt down. I know you're sentimental about it, but there's no time to discuss that. This needs to go. That's Pluto's energy. It's very aggressive, and it's no nonsense, and it's to the point. So the things that are hindering, the things that are not, that you use as, so somebody, let me get this clear. Somebody doesn't come into your life and then choose to be a blockage to your wealth and abundance. But how you choose to focus on them or the relationship or whatever is happening is what creates the basis for whether or not they're an excuse for your blockage or they're an excuse for your growth. You get to decide either way. But sometimes we have people or situations in our lives that we care so much about, and we just want to be there for them to our detriment, whatever that may be. You know your scenario. And Pluto comes along and says, this needs to go, and destroys it. And I like it because I'm a fire sign. I like fire energy. I don't sit and I don't want to sit and ponder on and have endless meetings about that thing in the corner that needs to go, and how sentimental I am about it, and maybe I should keep it around because maybe next season I'm going to need it. No, it needs to go. Burn it down. And then we decide, do we recycle? What do we do with the rubble? And basically that's Pluto's energy. Pluto's come in, and Capricorn's got to do with stability. Okay, it's about the stability that you've created for yourself. And if anything's hindering that, Pluto's going to burn that down and leave the rubble for you to clean up, because that's part of your process. You get to do with the leftover, right? You decide what you're going to do with the residue, the leftovers, and the mess. Okay, so let's look at the next point. Is it possible that you could be sabotaging your relationship? Do you avoid intimacy? Do you find yourself avoiding intimacy? Now, yes. So it makes sense, okay? And it's amazing because we're connected to everything. Everything happening on our planet energetically in the universe affects us. We're connected to everything. And everything is connected to us. So when we expand, which we're always doing, our universe expands. And we're so valuable and we're so special. Is it possible, do you find yourself avoiding intimacy? Now, intimacy is not sex. We do have the capacity to separate intimacy from the physical activity that is sex or anything associated with it. So we might think, I don't have a problem with intimacy because I don't have issues with being with someone. Intimacy is me being vulnerable about my feelings, about my thoughts and who I am with you. That's me being intimate. Me allowing myself to sit in a situation and say, is that what we're doing? Without the fear that I'm going to look as though I want more than you want. Without the fear that I'm going to put myself in a vulnerable position where you can reject me because you say, no, that's not what we're doing. We're just hanging out. So I'm talking about real intimacy. When you feel a certain kind of way, do you allow yourself to be intimate, to have that level of intimacy where you open yourself up and allow yourself to be? Or do you feel you need to behave a certain way because I don't want someone to think that I'm vulnerable, that they have the upper hand? Okay? So that's what I mean about being intimate. Do you avoid being intimate with someone? Being vulnerable, being open, being raw, and being real. Okay? That is an indication that you are afraid that you cannot trust yourself or anybody else to value who you are, regardless of, to just be you. That means that you don't feel safe in the world, that you don't feel safe with yourself, and that you don't trust that somebody else is going to see your value and respect who you are. So that's self-worth stuff, that's insecurity, that is afraid that I'm not, that's a belief, I'm not enough, I'm probably not enough, I'm probably just lucky to be here with this person, and I just need to play this game until I'm sure that this person is not going to hurt me. It's a scary way to be, because now you're placing all of your well-being into the hands of somebody else because you don't feel that way about yourself. And if you're with someone that has the tendency to do this, then you know that this person has intimacy issues because they're in a place where they don't trust themselves enough to be honest with themselves, and so they cannot be honest with you. Okay? So this can depend on many things. Sometimes it's due to trauma, but that doesn't mean that you reject the person. That means you make a mature decision. I see that this person struggles with intimacy. I see value in them. I take the position because I can see they're not ready for a real relationship. But that doesn't mean that this is ready, and they may never be ready, and I'm not going to resist. I make in relation to this person is a choice I'm willing to make it. So don't do more or give more than the situation is able to give you, if that's what you want, you know? Because sometimes we're in this situation, we think if I just make this person feel comfortable, if I give them this, if I show them that I'm willing to be vulnerable and I'm willing to be all these things, then they will feel safe with me, and then they will love me, and they will be to me what they've never been to anybody else. And that's a form of manipulation. And then when we get back manipulation, we don't like it. Okay, so let's look at the next point. Do you compare your partner to other people? if you're comparing the person that you are with, the person that you are in a relationship with or have a connection with to other people, then you are setting yourself up for failure, because you have what you have, because that is what you've asked for. That's what you let into your experience. That's what you have the capacity for. And in every person, in every situation, in every scenario, every subject is always two subjects. I am two subjects. I am some things that you may not like, and I'm some things that you like. I'm never going to be everything that you prefer, because your preferences and your needs are ever changing anyway. And I'm not a chameleon. I'm here to grow, develop, expand in the direction of my choice. That is why, in order for us to be together, we need to have unconditional love. You need to love me despite the conditions, despite how I did my hair, despite how I'm dealing with my trauma at the moment, despite what is, how my personality is showing up. Okay. And if you can't do that, then you are going to be in a very unstable situation, because I'm ever changing and you are ever changing. And the only thing that remains constant is the core of who we are, which is self, soul self. So if you're not in love with the soul, then you're not in love with me, and then I'm going to annoy you. It's just the way that it is. So if you're comparing someone to somebody else, you're noticing what they don't have. You're deliberately looking for what it is that they may be lacking that you see in someone else. That is just an exterior. It's like judging the gift by the packaging, because you're not in a relationship with them. You don't really know what they're like. And even if it is a past relationship that you're comparing your person to, there is an awareness. I want this person to be a particular thing. I want them to fit a particular image. They must have particular personalities and characteristics. So I can feel happy and safe and valued, which means that I don't want this person to be their authentic self. I'm not here to love them. I want someone that makes me feel loved. If they tick these boxes and if they behave in this way, then people will think I'm valued, and I will think I'm valued based on these conditions. It is conditional. It is not unconditional love, and it doesn't work. It is never going to work. So that is your indication. I need to take a step away. Maybe I'm not ready for a relationship because I'm not even appreciating this person for who they are. I'm too busy evaluating whether they're the best possible option for me, for my needs, whatever they may be today. And the tricky thing is, your needs change. So unless that person is a robot, they're never going to be enough for you. Okay. So the next point, is it possible that you could be self-sabotaging your relationships? Do you always have an exit strategy? If you're going into a relationship with an exit strategy, then you already intuitively know, I'm not ready for this, or this is not the right thing for me. And then I have to ask you, why are you getting into that space where you are giving of yourself and you are asking somebody to give of themselves, when your inner being is clearly letting you know you're either not ready for this or the person is not right for you? When something is a vibrational match to your desires, there are no questions. It feels right. It's easy. It makes sense. So why do you need an exit strategy? If you have an exit strategy moving into a relationship, you shouldn't be moving into that relationship. It's not going to work. because you've already said to the universe, I expect this to be a mess so that I can use or implement my exit strategy. So what does the universe do? Yields to you. Make sure that you need to use your exit strategy. Because we create our reality. And what we expect, we attract. You see? Okay. So, let's see. As I've said, guys, if you do have a question that you'd like to ask, perhaps you'd like a personal reading, you're welcome to comment with that question, and I will channel that reading for you. Okay, so let's look at the next point. Do you often find yourself canceling plans that you've made with your person, or do you find that they do it? So you make plans together, and then you make plans together, whether it's to spend time with friends or to do whatever, and then you cancel it. You find yourself canceling those plans. Now, this could be in your friendships as well. There's nothing wrong with changing plans because you feel that you'd rather stay in, or you're not feeling up to it, or it's not the right, or you're just not sure that you want to hang out with these people. Nothing wrong with it. But if you're constantly changing mutual plans, then maybe there's more to the relationship that you are not wanting to address. There's something you're avoiding, whether it's friendships or a romantic partner. You're avoiding something in this connection that either makes you feel uncomfortable or does not serve you, or and you need to be honest with yourself about that, because you don't want to be in a situation where one person is invested and making the effort and the other person is not fully invested, because something is off for them and they're just not willing to have that conversation with themselves or to acknowledge it. And these are all the ways in which we betray ourselves and then betray somebody else's time and investment, and then it comes back. That becomes our karma. So you deserve to be in a situation where you feel comfortable, valued, and happy. When you leave your group of friends or a date where you feel like something's been added to, value's been added to who you are, not where you feel drained and something's been taken away. Okay. Let's look at the next point. You don't keep small promises. Could be your person as well. If you're not keeping your promises to yourself in relation to a partner, then you are creating a dominant vibration of deception, self-deception, and betrayal. And when you're in a situation where you feel that you need to do that in order to make someone else happy or to be with someone else, you've already lost, and so have they. The first thing you want to do if you want to attract a healthy relationship into your life, keep your promises to yourself. The small ones, because if you overlook the small ones, eventually you'll overlook the big ones. Okay. The next point, if you're wondering if perhaps you're sabotaging your relationships, do you have unrealistic expectations? So you know who this person is, you know what they have, you know the job they do, you know, you have all the facts, but you're still focusing on where this could go. And maybe this person, I want to have kids, and this person doesn't seem to be interested in that, but maybe the relationship will move in a direction where this person will be willing to do it for me. I would like to travel to 3 different countries every year, and I would like to have this kind of financial freedom, but this person doesn't have a job. It's okay. He or she can find one, and then we can live that life. And that's true. Things can change. But if your expectations are so far from where your person is at this moment in time and from where you are, like, I want to marry this person, I can have a family with this person, but they still married to someone else and they still trying to take care of their kids over there. How realistic is your expectation of this person? I want love and respect, but to this point, this person is not giving me that. Maybe with time it'll change. When they do fall in love with me, they will respect me. If someone cannot respect you when you, just as a person, when they're getting nothing from you, you can't expect that that is who they're going to be because they fall in love with you. Maybe. What are the facts before you? Not what is it that we've spoken about that could possibly happen. What is it that life is showing you? Because people show you who they are. We don't hide. It's right there in plain sight. In the things we say, in the things we do. If you've known me for I have been overweight. And I'm going to have my ideal weight. Up that story, and I've been breaking my promise to myself. You're setting up for disappointment and disaster if you're expecting to hold me accountable for for saying that last year and I still haven't lost weight. It's not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen in the next year. It might happen when I stop making myself that promise and breaking it. And it might happen when you no longer care because you're saying, this is the facts. She's obviously comfortable in her body. She'd prefer to have a different body, but she's not uncomfortable enough to change it. And I've fallen in love with her like this, so I'm not going to make it a big deal. Or I can't see myself living with someone that is overweight, so I need to make a different choice. Because otherwise you're just going to loathe and resent me because you have an expectation that you're hoping I will eventually meet so that you can feel happy and loved. And then you're going to blame me for your unhappiness and your dissatisfaction and feeling unloved because I'm struggling with my weight. And my struggle with my weight is not even a real struggle. It's just that I don't keep the promises to myself. And that's my business. That's between me and me. But do you see how it affects, how my relationship with myself affects my relationship with you and with somebody else? And it takes you being unconditional to not allow that to be an issue in our dynamic. But keeping your promises to yourself are important, and be mindful of the expectations you've placed on yourself and your connection in relation to the facts. Do they match? Because you're going to set yourself up for disappointment if you do that. If you don't make sure that your expectation matches what is before you. Okay. Is it possible that you could be sabotaging your relationships? Let's look at the next point. You make your person the center of your world. Now, we all thought that's what love is growing up. It's not. You have to be the center of your world. If someone fell in love with you, they fell in love with you, not with the version that you are whilst you're spinning around them. They fell in love with you. You have to be the center of your world. You have to be your go-to for your happiness, your fulfillment, your satisfaction. You have to be the person you trust more than anyone else in this world. You have to be your best friend. You have to be your lover. You have to mate with your soul if you want to attract your soulmate. When you make someone else the center of your world, it comes at a sacrifice that is too high. It comes at the sacrifice of your relationship with yourself. They didn't ask for that. That's your choice. It's not the choice you want to make. If you want a happy, healthy, satisfying, unconditional, loving relationship. And anybody that expects you to make them the center of your world, is not, that's not what you want. That is an indication of maybe this is not for me, because I want love, and this is not the basis or the platform for real unconditional love. Okay. Another point that could indicate that you're sabotaging your relationships is that you don't really believe in the relationship. You don't really believe in the relationship. You don't really believe that this person's going to be what you want. You don't really believe that this is what you want. You don't really believe that this is your person. So you find yourself comparing them to other people. You find yourself criticizing them. You just don't believe, this is where I want to be. So with the question asked earlier on, where Tatiana asked, how will I know? How will I recognize my person? You will have confidence in the value of the connection, of having that person in your life, regardless of what the status, the title, or whatever it may be, or where it goes. You will have faith in the relationship because you will be in a place where your relationship with yourself is healthy and good, and that's a foundation for your trust, for your faith, for your stability. And so you will know when someone comes into your experience that they match that, and you'll trust the relationship. If you don't trust the relationship, then you are self-sabotaging. Once again, I will ask, why are you there? And then finally, you're not open. You're just not open in the relationship, and you shut down during conversations, especially if it is confrontational. That's a trauma response very often. And that comes back to the intimacy, the point about intimacy earlier on. And if you're in a relationship where you don't feel safe enough, then you're not yet ready. You've not become a match. We've got to be ready for relationships. There's a lot of things that we do in this life that we think will automatically just make sense. Will automatically, and a lot of people through their experience can tell different stories. We think, I'm going to have a baby. I'm going to fall pregnant. It's just going to make sense. And when the baby's there, I'm just going to know how to be a mother. And then when your first child teaches you that you know nothing, and that, that's when you realize, I need to learn. I need to be a student here. I'm going through a process where I need to be open to being the student and to trying different ways, with my basis, my intention being love and being the best version of myself. Relationships are the same, and every relationship you encounter is there to teach you. But when we're so busy shifting blame, no, that person was the problem, that person did that. Why did the relationship end? Because she cheated. There's so much more to it. There's so much more to it. What is it that, how did I grow in that relationship is a better question. What did I learn about myself? How did I develop? How did that relationship, the relationship and the ending, what did it guide me towards? You have to, if you want to be happy and you want to override dating a whole lot of different people and having the same experiences a million times, and eventually then outgrowing it, which is hard to do, because the more you have these negative experiences, the more you calibrate to them, the more you attract it in the next one. It's the way it is. You have to make the relationship with yourself your priority, and you have to be willing to take time and space to do that. Because the laws of the universe, they're set, they're constant, they're not unfair, they're the same for all of us, and it's not going to make an exception for you. It's not going to make an exception for you. You're not going to get lucky and suddenly gravity is just not going to work for you and you're going to be floating in the air. It's constant for all of us. So the law is you, like attracts like, and you attract what you're a vibrational match to. Your relationship with yourself is your basis for what you're a vibrational match to in relationship with lovers specifically. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this talk. And that it was helpful to you, and that you enjoyed the readings. I will try and do this at least twice a month. I'm very busy, but I'm going to try and be more active. Go live with you with you guys sometimes, and we'll talk about something, spiritual, psychic development, or some life advice that we can all benefit from. And then in between we'll do readings the way that we did today. So if you guys like that and enjoyed it, comment, let me know if you want more of this. And like I say, I'll try and do one every 2 weeks where we can just connect in this way. Okay. Take good care of yourselves. Thank you so much for being here with me. Okay, it was incredible. Oh, thank you, Shana. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, let's do this again maybe in the next 2 weeks. Or I'll see how it goes. But thank you so much for being here with me. Take good care of yourself. Remember, Pluto is active at the moment, so don't be surprised when shit gets burned to the ground unexpectedly. Remember, it is to serve you. It is for your highest good. Sometimes we hoard and we hold on to things long after we're meant to. Just because we're sentimental. That doesn't make us bad. But Pluto's come along to sort of take some of the old stuff down, and that gives us work because now we've got to clean up the mess. And that's your work. Recognize what is rubble that I just need to clear away. And in that rubble, what do I want to take from it? That's your work moving forward. And more important than that, your work is to always, always, always make how you feel your priority. If you don't feel good, you're not in alignment, that's not the direction you want to go in. How you feel matters. Love yourself, take good care of yourself, love and light, and I'll chat to you guys next time. Bye now.